Hey Deb, here's a quick video on using the initial course proposal template. So you'll see that I filled out some stuff here. It goes into branding, logo. I couldn't find a I squared PE logo online, so if you send one of those over, I'll throw that in there. Um, and then all I did was choose some of the things we talked about today. If you want to change a box from a check mark to the opposite, all you have to do is double click on it and then right click, and you get to choose. Oh, there we go. So you just have to go up to the bullet to change that. And if you want to go to check mark, you just click right there. We talked about a 1 credit course. If it was Drake graduate credit, it'd be right here. Proposed cost. This is where you get to choose how much you think that you don't want to price yourself out of the game. But what do you think people would pay? What you guys need to return based on your investment um, for this course? In the example email, I think I put in 300, but that's 100% your call. So if you require a teacher, not all courses require teachers. You can have trainings that automatically complete, but typically there's some sort of a project or some sort of submission of something. So typically there is a teacher required. If we do the teaching, there's $20 submission fee to administer feedback and kind of monitor that. If you guys want to do that as an organization, you are more than welcome to do that. I kind of mentioned in the email how some organizations have teachers, and that way they can keep up with the people that are taking the course and just have responsibilities of someone in class or someone in their job to monitor the people in class. If we go down here we get to the hours. So we need 15 hours of in-class time. So for hour one, you might write something like introduction. And in the introduction, you would give things like the course syllabus. You might put something else in there. Um, Welcome video about Iowa Quality Center. And then it'd be really nice if you have that welcome video, if you just throw in the hyperlink. It's probably something on YouTube, so you'd go to YouTube and grab the link, and then you could just hyperlink it right there. That'll keep all of this, all the resources and the names of things organized. You can see that we come down here to 15. Since this is a 1 credit course, you would only have to fill this out one time. If it's multiple credits, you'd fill this out multiple times. Once you have the hours broken out, now you're going to think about, okay, so those are the hours we developed. What are we going to name chunks of those hours? So we talked about this today at our meeting, but kind of like chapters in a book. You don't have to have 5. I just have space here for 5. So your first one, you might say, if this is leaders and managers, so you might say for the first one, differences in leaders and managers. Typically, when I'm naming a module, I'm going to name it, but I'm going to put the course name at the beginning. So if our course name is leaders versus managers, you might put leaders versus managers, and then you put, would do something like that. And then, for the next one, you might take your leaders and managers, and you might put it in each of these. And then you just change the second part of this. And your hour range, you might say this is going to be, actually this is probably going to be your second one. You're probably going to have like an overview here where you go over things like objectives and such. So this hour range could be like just hour 1. And then into this one, differences, this might be 2 to 6. And then you might get into so this might be hours 7 through 14. And then we'd say hour 15 is something like the conclusion. There we go. Project and conclusion. Something like that. So I'm not saying you would only need 4. I mean, you could have 5, you could have 10. I just have spots for 5. But I'll go ahead and get rid of those just so you can kind of, that was just so you could see how that worked. maybe. There we go. And then down here, this is where we're going to get into the out of class breakdown. This one you don't have to fill out right away. Obviously, we're going to have to start with creating modules, and then from those modules, we'll input the content and the resources and kind of see where we go from there. Make sure we have 15 hours. The out of class stuff. So again, we have 30 hours now, so there's going to be quite a few more of these. And these you still want to do resources, so what you're asking them to do. This, though, your content name and location. So if before one of your module names was differences in leaders and managers, and then in hours, I forget what it was, 2 through 6, you're talking about the differences in leaders and managers. So here you might put for your content name and location, you would put, I guess there's 2 ways to do it. You would either put the module name, or, so this would be leaders versus managers, differences. Or you could also put what hour you want it to go with. So if you want to, so let's say there's, an hour 5 up here. There's a video, and then there's some feedback that you want to provide through a online forum. Well, down here, if you now want to include something else, so now you want to include, let's say you want to include a reading. So you would say that this is going to be leaders versus managers, differences, hour 6, and then in here you would put the reading. And you'd want to make sure this is an hour. So if there's a reading, if there's a question to answer, and there might be something else. So maybe they do a reading, maybe they answer a question, and maybe they propose a solution. So you want to make sure you have an hour, but this is going to now, when we build, we'll build starting with the modules. We're going to put the hours into the modules. And then when we come down here, we're going to figure out, okay, where does this stuff go? Now, there's 2 ways to do it. As we talked about, you can integrate. This is for integration. So if we're going to integrate, this is how we would do it. If you want to put additional modules at the end of the course, so here you would name your new module, and you would just put your hour range. So you might put, you'd do like 2 through 14, but then here you'd want to do something like out of course. So that now when we're building, we're looking at, okay, so we're going to be in out of class, sorry. And we're going to be 2 through 14. So these are going to be a new module from there to here. And those would be input as a new module instead of integrated. That's 100% dependent on how you want to set it up. If you have questions, let me know, but hopefully this is something that we can both use to monitor and to organize our thoughts and the build. So when we're ready to get started, there's organization that we can both work with. Let me know if you have any questions.